Yo, what is up guys, I'm here hitting you up with a new Etheria restart video today with a updated PvE tier list. This time we are not going to Pritwin and then I'm going through the entire list and tell you if I agree or disagree. No, this time I'm doing my own list. This is strictly for PvE, all use cases, and also for this specific tier list I'm only focusing on Inferno content. Inferno plus obviously the other stuff, Ethernet, Ember Track, stuff like that, all basically all PvE content. But for the farming stuff we're currently doing for the Shell Dungeon and for the Threshold, those are Inferno only because everything else doesn't really make sense, right? Okay, now that we start off things here, the way I want to structure this is, so first and foremost, I already put some units in here where I just say no, that you don't use them for PvE, it just doesn't make sense. They are just underwhelming, generally speaking. For example, number 41, I tried, she's not really that good because of the way her AI works. But outside of that, the way I want to structure this is I want to start off with the C tier and then I want to work my way up to SS. This is the idea on how I want to structure this, so you guys have an understanding, because I will add timestamps to it and then I don't want to add a timestamp for every single character, otherwise it will take too long. So I will just structure it from C, B, A, and so on and so forth, right? Okay, starting off with the C tier and having the first unit, Beonten. Beonten is definitely not bad overall, but the problem with her really is, like, she has a really good kit, but you cannot really AI manipulate her targeting something you want in a rotation, otherwise she would be like way higher A or S even. But since she prefers targeting the unit with the longest cooldown, it's hard to make her work. Yes, I know you saw me using her for like super fast times, but that is generally speaking just manual content and that's like whatever, right? So that's not that big of a deal. She's not bad, but she's also not the best unit in all the PvE content. Nonetheless, she can be used there though. Another unit that comes into the C tier is Hellkit. Hellkit, in my opinion, I mean, he provides immunity. You can use him for Inferno, Termaton, but like overall, there are just better options out there. Like, I don't see, like, he's more of a PvP unit. He like almost didn't even make the cut. The only reason is because he has an attack debuff and he has like some sort of immunity. That's really about it. Then we have Hoyen. Hoyen is also C tier. Nothing too crazy about it. Yes, you can one-shot with a Termaton, but outside of that, do you want to really use a single target DPS with her specifically because she is a green unit, right? Nothing too crazy really there. Then next up, do I even want to rank? Nah, I think that is too low for her. But the next unit I think we have to rank is Liliam. Liliam is also one of the units that is not used, but she still could be used if people decide to use her, even though she's not the craziest, right? But she did do her job, and I think she could be, if you invest into her, could be useful overall in general for all purpose contents, but no one really does it, right? And then also that brings me to the next character, Lilith. Lilith overall is a good character for like the Ember Track, stuff like that, but for all the Inferno content you're not gonna use her. That's why she also belongs into that tier list, even though her kit is good. But as I said, she's more of a PvP unit, right? Then we got another unit in the list, which is going to be Ramoka. I know people might see this a little bit controversy, but not gonna lie, the only two places she is seen is in Doki Inferno if you invested into her, and in the blue GP outpost. Outside of that, she does not do anything for you. That's why she also belongs, in my opinion, in the C tier category. I think she might be like this. Hoyen would be worse than that if you want to rank it specifically somewhere, right? Like this or something, right? But if you want to add an order to it, but outside of that, like, it's really just whatever at this point. Then the next unit that also belongs in here is Dorothy the Wisher. Dorothy, you also see her in some of my footages where I show her how she plays out and stuff like that. She is good if you're trying to get like super fast times, but outside of that you really don't use her that much. So she's also like a character, whatever character, but even though she's a cool character, you don't really use her for autoplay and stuff like that. But also guys, keep in mind when I rank these characters, I don't rank from left best to right worst. I just put him in there really. I could make an order, but I feel like since I put so many different type of units in there, so it's not just pure DPS or pure support or whatever, I think like ordering them doesn't make too much sense. I also believe Arkachi belongs into the C tier category, even though he provided a really good showcase in the Cage Rumble, where he's really good against the Hoyan part with the stunning and stuff like that. And I think that also could easily, I think, translates to Inferno Hoyan shell farming. I think he can be used there as well. But overall, his use case is still limited though, overall. And it's nothing you see. Like, it's at the end of the day, this is a meta tier list, right? It's meta. It's not about, oh, I can use that unit there. Yes, you can use many units in different places. But if you have better options, or do you have different options, are you still gonna use that option? No, you don't, because you choose for the meta option, the better option, right? Now, this is the entire idea of a tier list, generally speaking. The next up, we have Mizuki. Mizuki is like not good at all. I feel like I could almost like put in no. The only reason you would have her here is because you want to use her for Teramaton, but really she is more of a PvP unit, and that's she really good, but like in PvE, she's like so bad. Like if I compare them to these others, like it feels like, yeah, you know what, let's put her just here. No, just put it in here, because it feels already bad, like putting her in same as like Remoka, for example. That unit generally just doesn't make sense to me whatsoever. Then another unit that I think belongs into the C tier category is Chiaki, the red one, because while her healing is good, do you really need it that much? I don't think you really need it that much as well. Then I think looking at the units that and we have another one, Yang also belongs. He's a better PvP unit, I feel like, than a PvE unit. He is cool though. He can be used in some certain scenarios, but I think he's also like more niche than anything else. And there are just better options out there, or other scenarios, generally speaking. But yeah, outside of that, I think this is a pretty good summary of the C tier category. Now let's move on with the next rank, which is the B tier. Now B tier, we start off with the Selene. Selene is really good. She does a really good job, but primarily you want to use her, like her best job is probably going to be like Hoyan. And you can use it for other different stuff because of the forgetfulness. That is very useful also for like other content, Ember Track and stuff like that, wherever you want to use her. You can also use her for the Doki Inferno. She also does a really good job there, but there are also better strategies out there which not allow her to be better than B tier. I give her B tier because of her versatility, because she not only provides the debuffs, but she also has the passive that adds support to your lineup. So that's what makes her really good in that certain scenario, if you want to use her there. Then next up in this category, we have Heinrich. While Heinrich is also good, generally speaking, in a PvE scenario you don't really see him that much, but you can use him, especially in Inferno, to remove immunities if you don't have other options available. He does a pretty good job there, but keep in mind there's always like a best in slot, like a Holden is a best in slot for like a Termaton, a Viper is a best in slot for like a Aurora, stuff like that, really, right? But he can still nonetheless be used, and there are some annoying stages where you can make use of him to deal with that. So overall he is like very good, and he's like very versatile overall, so that's why he gets a B tier. Next up we have Nahor. Nahor is also not bad, generally speaking, because he does have a good kit nonetheless. His just percentages are not that good, and that's why I don't think he can be ranked higher than B tier. It's just how it is, really. And also I almost forgot like Rahu, in my opinion, also C tier unit, forgot to add that in here, and Tiamat as well, also put it in C tier, put these two in here. So now the C tier category is finished, sorry for that, but they're just very niche. You don't use them that much or at all. Now let's continue with the B tier category. Mia is also a good unit. Is it a game changer though? Not really. You don't really use her for farm teams. Yes, you can use her, you can use her for Aurora, stuff like that, but I feel like there are also better options out there, generally speaking. And she's more of a kind of niche, but she has more to her kit, which allows her to be a better option, generally speaking. The next up, we also have Veronica. Veronica is also not a bad option. Veronica does a good job, generally speaking. She is good. You can use her almost, I think, everywhere, but you really have to keep in mind on how you want to utilize her. Taro, she does a really good job. You can use her for other content just because of her so what, but you really have, if you want to use her in like other content stuff, like you need her with Codex, and ideally you combine her also with like a Linglaw or something, because just to extend the so what, so you make your team unkillable. Also not a bad option, generally speaking, but there are better options. But like, she's almost like, if I had to like be a very specific ranking, she's like super low B. She's like high C, low B tier. Okay, keep in mind she's like super low on the tier list, generally speaking. Then next up, we have Kraken. Kraken also not a bad overall unit, but outside of the one-turn CC and stuff like that he has, there's really nothing too much going. Like, here's a CC, we have better option. Obol is way better than him for the PvE side of the game, especially with certain, I would say, synergies. But yeah, this is how high I can rank him for that. The next up, we also have Chiaki the Echo. Chiaki the Echo is good with her attack buff and stuff like that, but most use cases are like PT and stuff like that. She can be good and a good utility, but I feel like ranking her higher than B tier is definitely not a possibility for this character. Who else belongs into the B tier? Then we have Kazami, and I put them all here: Kazami, Nell, and Marvel. Those three also belong into the B tier category. Marvel now that he got buffed, now he has a 4-turn cooldown on his S3. Before I would have put him probably in the C tier category, but because of that buff with the 4-turn, now that makes him more viable. You can also put him on time weave just to reduce that and keep spamming the S3. Still, that AoE speed down with effect resistance is still very useful for many different content, where you can actually make use of him if you decide to use him. Good unit in general, but you can't really rank him higher than B tier. As well as the new unit Nell, even though people say like she's like budget Lily, she's like budget Lily on Wish. Like, the problem I have with her is the fact that her S3 and her S1 debuff are the exact same thing. So she does have vulnerable. Is it vulnerable or is it nightmare? Correct me if I'm wrong. One or the other. I think it's vulnerable. It could also be nightmare. I think it's nightmare. Debuff. She puts that on the S3, buffs your team with speed buff, but does not pushes the ATB bar, right? Does none of that shenanigans. And her S1 provides the exact same debuff as a S3, so now you do not even have a variety on the debuffs, it's just that one debuff. And her S2 is a heal, which is kind of copied of Fushu, right? It's kind of copied of Fushu. The S2 plus it also pushes the turn meter by 20%. It's like whatever, really, right? It's whatever. The only reason you can put it because she's a dark unit, which you can use for Ethernet rally, that has a little bit of healing, a little bit of support, but that's really about it. There are just better options. Then we have Kazami. Kazami is more of a budget Lily than Nell, in my opinion. She can be used if you, for example, do not have a Lily. You can use her, for example, as the replacement unit for that as well, and it works. Now, looking at the rest of the units, I'm trying to figure out if there are any more units that belong into the B tier category. Yeah. Last unit I put into the B tier category is Tsukiyomi. While she's good for Aurora and stuff like that, she is not really used that much, right? You have other units with different options which kind of do what she does, especially with a 5-team lineup you're doing in the PvE side of the things. While she's cool to have the attack and speed up in certain scenarios, there are better options out there which you can use to really get what you want in the game, generally speaking, right? And I feel like she's more of a PvP unit than she is a PvE unit. Now, starting off with the... No, you know what? I'm missing one more unit, and that one unit is gonna be Rin. Rin is a B tier unit. She's really good. You can use her for Aurora. You can use her for Doki, is also a possibility for her. She is a good budget blue DPS option, but there are also better options, generally speaking, out there. Now let's jump into the S tier category. So let's start off with, I think, with the A tier category. Let's put Shadow Zarya in there, and I'm gonna put the Fangus also in there. I feel like these units are generally speaking good, but the game also provides so much dot immunity that you cannot really reliably use them that much, because they really just don't want you to use dots, right? And it's like super hard to make use of them. If you can though, they are super strong, but oftentimes they don't let you, and this is like very annoying, so you gotta have to deal with that really. Then the next two units, in my opinion, that belong into the A tier category are Doki and Fushu. While these units are good generally speaking, Doki has very good use and Fushu has also very good usage overall, where you can put them into longer format fights. Doki you can use for example also for sharing stuff and for shell farming and stuff like that really. The thing is though, nonetheless, there are still better options out there, but you can make use of them for all the PvE content overall, because especially if you combine those two together, or you combine like Doki with any like support, there's like very good synergy overall. And Fushu's kit is also really not that bad overall. You can make use of these characters because the healers are important in this game. You need some sort of sustain, right? And they can be used generally speaking. Next up in the A tier category, we have Kaji the Goat. While he is good with the immunity stuff, he's still more of a niche unit. You don't use him everywhere and anywhere if you want to use him really. He does have his fair use, but does it make him the best unit in the game? No, it doesn't. That's why a solid unit overall, A tier. Same goes for RC77. He's a unit I use for my Doki team. He's a very important for my Doki lineup, but he can be replaced. But you can also use him for Aurora. You can use him for different content, but the question is, when do you want to use him, and does it make sense to use him, or do you have other options which could potentially be better overall? Nonetheless, a really good unit. Then another unit that belongs into the A tier category is the Zyada. Zyada is a good overall revelation DPS unit. You can use it for Aurora, you can use it for all the other content, Ember Track, PT, stuff like that, whatever it might be at the end of the day, where you want to use it really. Doki, that's what makes her good overall, but I feel like she is still limited in what she can do. I feel like her damage output is underwhelming. If revelation wouldn't be a thing, she would be one of the worst SSR characters in the game, in my opinion, just because her damage is just too low. The only reason you can make use of her is because of the revelation. Without it, she would be extremely bad in this game. Another character which belongs in the A tier category is the Zarya. Zarya gives you a lot of sustain, a lot of healing, rezzing and stuff like that. You can make use of that really everywhere if you decide to. I mean, you look for example at Grandi, if you remember this guy, he legitimately cleared the entire game, like legitimately the entire PvE game with the exact same team. He didn't change even anything, and Zarya was part of that team. That's why she belongs into the A tier category and is not ranked lower, because she proved you can use her everywhere, and that works if you have the right team setup as well, right? That's why she does belong in here as well. Another A tier unit, I almost forgot, is Obol. While Obol is really good, is like, you know what, I think I need to save him actually. Then another unit that belongs into the A tier category is Vice. Vice is extremely good for if you struggle in certain any-sync dungeon, if you struggle in Ember Track dungeon, but this is where his use case is limited for PvE content, generally speaking, for the hardest shit, where the boss are immune to everything. You can also use him for Rengo, but outside of that really, where like there are use cases for him where it's like extremely strong and you make your life a lot easier when you use him. But in all Inferno cons, you're not gonna use him anywhere except for maybe Rengo. Outside of that, you're not gonna make use of him. That's why he, just because of the powerhouse he has in certain scenarios, that makes him an A tier unit, but I cannot rank him higher than that. Now let's kick things off with the S tier. No, actually one more character I want to put into the A tier category, which is Mio. Mio also a good unit, but generally speaking, in PvE, she still struggles with scenario like you don't use her in any trap. Like the reason why she's even up there is because of her usage in all the other content you can use her in, like PT, in like Ember track, in any sync, stuff like that, where you can make it fast. She provides the support, you have the push and stuff like that, the turn manipulation, you have the CC, right? And basically she's basically where Vice is. She has like very good usage in certain scenarios, but because of that I cannot rank her higher than that, and she's also either more of a lower A tier than a middle ground of A tier. She's not that crazy, but she has crazy usage overall, and you can also work your way around certain scenarios if you want to combine. Like you can also use it for Inferno if you want to decide to use her, and it works as well, right? But is it the best option? No, it isn't. There are better options out there. Now we are reaching the S tier category for game. No, first we have Obol. I think Obol is self-explanatory. CC dot codex, most CC dot strip dot everything. Best CC in my opinion in the game, can't go wrong with her. Another S tier definitely is Freya. Freya also provides you attack up, nightmare defense up, dream guide, everything. She does so many things, cleansing. It's such a crazy powerhouse, can't go wrong with her. She does an absolute fantastic job. Then we have Claws. Claws also a very solid unit. You know, everybody wants a AoE, defense break, speed slow, hacking effect, everything you want from her really. Amazing unit, does her job absolutely fantastic. Can't go wrong with her. Then we got Holden. Holden is also a very good powerhouse. The reason is because he has that AoE strip into attack down, into rest down, where you can make use of him a lot. Then he has an attack, a defense break. You can use him a lot in a lot of different scenarios. He's really good overall, and that's why he also deserves his slot into the S tier category for PvE, generally speaking. Then we got another unit, which is Chloros. Chloros, I would have probably ranked him lower, but the reason being Chloros is that high. He actually proved he can be used everywhere. He can be used everywhere. I'm not even kidding. You can. The only Inferno dungeon you cannot use him is Doki Inferno. Outside of them, you can make use of him. Like, he almost made it to double S, but because of his element and his lackluster damage from time to time, I cannot go higher than S. But he's like very versatile, and you can just literally use him in all content. Like, he's a little bit weaker in Ember track and stuff like that, but in Inferno dungeon he really slaps. He really slaps. Then another S tier unit we have is MaTeIRiA. MaTeIRiA is doing a fantastic job. Also makes absolute sense to put him there because, as I said, MaTeIRiA is also one of these units that proved he can clear every Inferno content. If you have the right team with him, he does an absolute fantastic job overall. There are better options out there in PvE content specifically, but he does a fantastic job and you can do everything with him, so that's why he's also deserving of this tier list. Next up in this category we have Dyna. Dyna is really good. She has the strongest debuff in terms of the raw DPS output. That makes her very good, generally speaking, but sometimes it just becomes so annoying. Like, if she would reliably land all her stuff, like if she would reliably land her debuffs, right, that would put her like up here, in my opinion, higher than Claws even. But the problem is she's like unreliable, and that's why I cannot go higher than S tier with her. And then also next up in that category we have Kazuya. Kazuya really good, can use her almost everywhere. She's like so strong for many different content that you really want to make use of her. She's really good for anything. She's really good for Ember track. She's really good for Doki Inferno and many more stuff. She just helps a lot, right? And you can use her, and she's just one of the better CCs. Like, I would say her usage is maybe slightly lower than Obol because Obol has the strip, but outside of that you can control a lot of scenarios with her, and she's like a very fantastic unit for the PvE mode. Then we have Valerian. Valerian is super strong, as you guys know. She makes our teams almost invincible in the PvE content, provides attack buff for our DPS units. I don't think she needs that much of explanation. Generally speaking, she's just such a good unit overall, where you can just slap her anywhere. She just works. You shouldn't combine her though with Doki. I feel like that's not good, but outside of that, she does just a fantastic job, and the shield and survivability that she provides is just too good to not to use. Then we have Viper. Viper is also just a fantastic unit. Like, he adds to the survivability of your team. He lands the AoE attack, down speed, down strips. You know what he does. Also, I feel like it doesn't need too much. Like, so much stuff is audible just because you add him to your party. And then there are just two more units that I want to add to the list of the S tier category. We have Linglao. I think the Sapphire, like, she is a must-have. Like, she is just the fun fact is, just because of Aurora, she is an S tier unit, because she is needed to remove the debuffs from your party to actually deal damage. And the cool thing is, she's free to play and everybody has her. So she's literally one of two SSR units everybody has, which is Liliam and Linglao, and she's just extremely powerful. You can use her literally everywhere. Almost double S tier for me, but she's just that good in the game. But she cannot be, you don't really use her in all the Inferno modes, but more like in the other modes, where she's like a must, like PT, Ember, stuff like that, anything where you need sustain. This is where you want to add her. And our last S tier unit is gonna be Rosa. Yes, Rosa, I wanted to separate Ziada and Rosa in terms of tier list. Rosa, if you have lattices invested into her, she is such a powerhouse. It's insane how strong she is. She's really good for Aurora, and she's really good for all the other, like Cage Rumble, for example, for like Ember Track, for any city. Wherever you decide to really use her, you can Doki, shells, you can legitimately just throw any, like wherever you decide to use Ziada, you can just put in Rosa, and Rosa just does it better. Like, Rosa is extremely powerful. I wish I would have skilled up Rosa over Ziada, but now I have to wait for a reset event so I can switch them up. But like, Rosa is such a powerful unit. If you invest the ladders and have the right build on her, she really does a fantastic job. And that sums up our S tier category, guys. We are done with the S tier. I feel like the only adjustment I want to make here, actually, now thinking about it, I have to derank Kazuya. Kazuya's A tier, sorry. I need to change it. I feel like it was a little bit, that was a little bit copium. So Kazuya's A tier. Like, I think S tier was a little bit too high. Obol is like, yes, for sure. Kaz is like, but Obol for sure is S tier. Now for the last category, who do we have in our last category? Now let's start off with Diding. Diding is still the king of PvE. He is still super damn strong. I mean, if you watched all my videos, you know what this guy can do. He one-shots you Terramaton. He one-shots you Terramaton. Legitimately, he's the only one that one-shots Terramaton. He is in Aurora speed teams, Nikonana, Rango, Ren, Hoyen, like all shell. Only where he's not in Inferno is Doki. He's in PT. He's in Cage. He is in Ember Track. You can use him anything. This guy is everywhere. This guy is just everywhere. You can use him everywhere, and he just is fantastic. Except for Doki. That's the only thing. That's the only spot where you don't use that guy, and I don't think he is just that unit is just so good. He's just so good. Then next up we have Yali. Now for Yali, also up there with Diding. Basically does everything that Diding does, plus she has a defense break, she has a crit rate buff for herself, and she has a self cleanse. And basically what she does that Diding can't do in comparison is Doki Inferno. That's about it. That's about it. Like, everywhere where you can use Diding, you can use Yali, and Yali just has the advantage over Diding for Doki Inferno. That's about it. But that doesn't mean that Yali is necessarily better than Diding for the contents where you can use her. Just puts her just slightly above him because of the AoE capabilities. But overall, this guy here is insanely strong, insane. Like that's what I mean. But like Yali just does a fantastic job. You can't really go wrong with them. And then just to finish off the DPS category, now with Liliam's buff, Liliam is also up here with these units. Let's put it in this order here. The big three PvE DPS powerhouses, I call them that way. Liliam can be used the same, but like basically she's basically bidding, but in certain scenarios just simply better. That's it. Because she, on top of that, she self buff attack, she self buff speed, and she cannot be CC'd, she cannot be pushed back. And the powerful thing which makes her that just slightly better than bidding is the fact that her S3 provides herself a attack buff. The reason why this is extremely powerful is bidding does not have that ability. He has other things he can go for, but you need a attack buffer to reach full potential for his damage. With Liliam, you don't need an attack buff anymore, which that means it opens up one of your slots for another option, right? And that's why you want to put that's basically what puts Liliam slightly above bidding there. And last but not least, Lily still the queen of, or general, or whatever you want to call her, emperor. I think this is the emperor of Etheria restart. Lily, just you can put it in every single lineup, everywhere, in every content, every dungeon, everything. Like wherever it says PvE, you put Lily in there and your team just is better. That's it. You can't really say anything about that. Like it is what it is, right? It is what it is. And you can't really say, like, she's just that good. She's just that good. If you have a team, add her to the mix and your team is better. I feel like not much else need to be said. But yeah, guys, this is now the final list. I'm looking at my list right now and see like if I adjusted something wrong where I feel like it is a little bit too high on that list and I want to de-rank it slightly. Looking at it, I am fairly happy. I think, you know what, the only unit I might consider ranking down is Holden. You know what, let's put Holden down. I feel like this looks better now. I feel like Holden was ranked a little bit too high. And the B tier category, yeah, Veronica also de-rank her. So this is also done correctly because I do want to make it as, I'm trying to make it as accurate as possible. But yeah, okay. No, this one I like actually. This looks good now to me. No, this looks decent to me. This specific list here, guys. Okay, this is the final tier list, ranked from SS tier to no. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. This is strictly for PvE, and we're looking on the Inferno, like specifically just Inferno dungeons, no Hell 4, nothing below that, plus all the other PvE modes we have in this game. This is now my final list. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. And as always, if you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to leave a like and a comment down below. I really appreciate it, and see you with the next one. Deuces.